came into the house, and my fiance, who is my ex-husband now, said to me, Lisa, you got to sit down. Come and sit down on the bed because I have something really important and very serious I have to talk to you about. And I said, okay. And we sat down on the bed and we looked at each other and he held my hand and he said, your mom and dad just phoned and your brother has taken his life. That was 21 years ago now, and it was September the 16th, and it was only 4 months before I was to be getting married. My brother had schizophrenia, and he was in his early 40s, and he had had it probably since an early teen. I was a very young girl when he was born. My brother Mark was 12 years older than me. I had an older sister and an older brother as well. But I grew up knowing a brother who was amazing at hockey and going really far, an incredibly brilliant man who did really well in school. But then things started to change with him. And there's probably a lot of things that I don't know, a lot of things my parents didn't tell me, and probably there's a lot of things that I just don't remember, and lots of things my other siblings could tell me about my brother and their experiences of growing up with him because they were older. But for me, what I knew was a man who was very, very loving, very, very smart, very talented, and very gifted with sports. An incredible golfer, an incredible hockey player. It didn't matter what he did, he excelled at it. But this schizophrenia came in, and back then we didn't have the information that we have now. It was a long time ago. And like I said, I grew up just knowing this beautiful love, this unconditional, beautiful love from a brother, and a brother who was always very interested in me, made me feel beautiful, welcome, and loved. And that's how I still refer to my brother who's been gone for 21 years. But this is Mental Health Week and mental health awareness. And all that I can do is bring my story to the table right now and tell you my perspective from a sibling and someone who loved their brother very, very, very much. And what I can say at that time that my brother took his life was a time that was very difficult for all of us, absolutely. And I didn't know if my parents wanted to go ahead with this wedding that was planned. But I do remember them sitting down with myself and my ex-husband and saying, you know what, we're going to have this wedding and it's going to be beautiful. And I thought, wow, that's really something else, that you two, my mom and dad, could have this relationship with each other where they could say to us, we're okay and we want you to be happy and we want this to happen. I know that they had their grieving and they didn't put that aside. But this was something for them to look forward to and plan and help them get out of this funk of losing a son. A very, very difficult time. Probably one of the saddest memories that I have, and I do want to share it because it makes it very real here, is watching your dad bury his son. And I remember my dad collapsing, just sobbing. And I thought, wow, what does that feel like? I hope I never have to feel that ever or experience that. but it's a memory that sticks with you for a lifetime. And obviously, right now, it's upsetting. I mean, it has dissipated over the years, but at the same time, it sticks with you. It really does, because I think as a parent, we have all these hopes and dreams for our kids. And when something like this takes place, it takes away from all of these hopes and dreams that we have for our kids, that we want for our kids. And that makes it very, very difficult to accept that these things just aren't going to happen. And I also knew growing up, as I became an adult and started to figure this stuff out, do some research on it, and experience the hallucinations that my brother had, and see him in full form when he was not himself, I just had this funny feeling that this is how it was going to happen. That the outcome for him was that he was going to take his life. And I accepted that for myself at that time. And it is what happened. It was the ultimate outcome. Now, I don't know how to prevent this from happening. I don't know how to tell anybody else how to prevent this from happening. I don't know how to help people with mental illness. I don't know. I just know that when this does happen to you, and maybe it already has happened, you feel it's going to happen, you know that this is the outcome, that you can move on from it. And the best thing that you can do is talk about it. And that's what this Awareness Week is all about. And that's why I'm giving my own personal awareness to this personal story. And that's what I started to do. What I did was I started to talk to my mom. She was the one that I felt most comfortable to talk to. And I'm very happy that she was welcoming of it. And she was going through her own grief in her own way. Yet she was very welcoming to me and listening to me. Because what I was finding is that for me, what was happening is after I got married, it started to come in for me when I was alone. And when I say alone, just being alone in the bathroom at work or going to work in the morning. I lived back in Toronto at the time, and just having that time to be on the subway. So it was when I wasn't around with anyone and talking to anyone, and I just was able to be in my own thoughts, that it would come in and it would overtake me and it would make me very, very sad. And I didn't know what to do about these feelings, and I didn't know who to talk to. I absolutely didn't. I did try counseling, but I just didn't feel very comfortable with it at the time. And I do recommend that if that's something that you want to do, by all means. But definitely having someone who I really trusted, who would listen to me, and that was my mom and my dad, my parents. And I'm very thankful that I had that. And that's what I encourage in this Mental Health Week, if you're listening to this, is just being able to talk to someone. And if it's someone that's not listening to you, that's not all that welcome, go for someone else. Keep trying with someone and keep opening up, because what that does is it lets you share your feelings about this person. All the beautiful feelings that you've had for this person and what they've brought into your life. And you can continue to talk about this person your entire life, because we don't want to forget about them. They are beautiful people, they're beautiful souls, and they have affected us deeply. And I know for myself, I took on so much for myself because I felt so much guilt, and I felt I had to pay penance for my brother. And it does totally tie in with my Ironman journey. At the time that my brother committed suicide, he was in Penticton. And he must have had some kind of hallucination. And he wound up hitting an athlete that was about to cross the finish line. And I thought, oh my goodness, this was a childhood dream of mine to do this race. Someday I'm going to do it. And what would that be like to have some guy from who knows where come in and punch you out while you're doing this race? When it came time for me in my life to do this race, I wound up carrying a special little emblem that my brother gave to me. And on that was an Inuit. And the Inuit was paddling. And I remember my brother and I talking about this. And I said, well, which way do you think the Inuit is paddling, upstream or downstream? And my brother said, it really doesn't matter as long as you know where you're going and have the courage to go there. And that's what I want to say, is that these things are going to happen to us, and they're going to affect us. And there's going to be lost dreams for the people that have these diseases and who take their lives from this. But it doesn't have to take our life. We have dreams. And if it can catapult you into doing something spectacular for yourself, then do it. Because that's what it's all about, is for us to live our life. We are meant to live. And that's what my brother did for me. I held him. He gave me the strength to go forward in the current. Didn't matter which way that current was going, but just to keep on moving forward and have the courage to keep going on the journey that we're meant to go on. And I finished that race. And I know that his spirit was helping me and guiding me along on that journey for me. So to wrap it up today, all I can say, like I said again, is that I don't have all of the answers. I just know from someone who's been deeply affected by someone who I've loved and who I still love, who had suicide and took their life, that their spirit helps me move on in my own life to achieve my own dreams, whatever that may be. And I hope that if this has happened to you, that these people can live inside of you and help you move forward and achieve your dreams as well. Have a beautiful day. Do whatever you can for this disease and for other mental illnesses. And know that these are people who have a beautiful spirit, who need love and compassion in any way that we can give it. That's all that we can do. Have a beautiful day and take care in this mental health week.